All right, everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into something I think we've all thought about.
Yeah.
Are mobile phones
Oh, yeah.
actually a health risk?
It's a big one these days.
Big question. And there's just so much research out there.
Right.
So it's like one study says this and another study says that.
Exactly, yeah.
It can be kind of hard to figure out, like, what is the real deal?
Absolutely. And that's why we're here.
So we've got a ton of research.
Yep.
We've got expert opinions. We've got some real-world examples, and we're going to try to break it all down.
Yeah, try to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
See both sides,
Right.
Because it's not always so clear-cut.
Yeah, it's not black and white. It's a very complex issue.
Right. So I think one of the things that kind of got me thinking about this, I think everyone has heard something about the studies linking heavy mobile phone use to brain tumors.
Right.
But then you've got other research
Yep.
that says, no, there's no connection at all.
Absolutely. And it can be confusing.
So where does that leave us?
Well, I think one of the big things to keep in mind
Okay.
is that mobile phones, as much as they feel like they've been around forever,
Yeah, they haven't.
they really haven't been widely used all that long.
Right.
And some enhancers, right, can take decades to develop.
Oh, wow.
So we might just be starting to see some of these long-term effects.
That's a really good point. But I guess it still makes you kind of wonder.
Oh, of course.
I mean, there are over 5 billion people
It's an incredible number.
using mobile phones every single day.
Astounding.
And a lot of those people are using it for over an hour a day.
Absolutely.
I mean, if there are long-term risks, that's a pretty huge potential impact.
You're talking about a massive global population.
Yeah.
And it's something that we have to take seriously. I think one study that I found really
Okay.
kind of fascinating, a 2016 study,
Mm-hmm.
exposed rats to the same kind of frequencies that our mobile phones use.
Right.
And they found a slight increase in certain types of brain tumors in these rats.
Okay, so I actually remember hearing about this study.
Yeah.
But didn't they kind of say that the results weren't necessarily conclusive for humans?
Well, that's the thing. It's really hard to extrapolate from animal studies to human health effects.
Right.
So you can't definitively say this proves mobile phones cause cancer in people.
Right.
But it definitely suggests that there's something there that needs to be looked at more closely.
Yeah. So if we kind of step back for a second.
Sure.
What is the actual science here?
Okay.
Because everyone always talks about like EMR.
Right. Electromagnetic radiation.
But like, what is that really doing?
Okay. So mobile phones use electromagnetic radiation, or EMR, to transmit information.
Okay.
To communicate with cell towers, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's important to remember that not all EMR is created equal.
Okay.
So you have, on one end of the spectrum, you have ionizing radiation. That's the really high energy stuff
Okay.
that can actually break chemical bonds, damage DNA.
Gotcha.
Things like X-rays, UV radiation from the sun.
Okay.
But then you have non-ionizing radiation. That's the lower energy stuff.
All right.
And that's what mobile phones use.
So it's not like my phone is blasting my brain with like X-rays.
No. It's much, much lower energy.
Okay.
But the question is, does that low energy EMR with prolonged exposure over time have more subtle effects that we just haven't been able to pick up on yet?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
It's that long-term effect question.
Yeah, and it's like, we used to think smoking wasn't harmful.
Right, exactly.
And then over time, we realized, oh, this is linked to cancer.
It's a classic example.
It's just, it took time and more research to kind of see the full picture.
And that's why long-term research is so important. We just need more data.
So knowing all this, I mean, what can we really do about it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right? Because we can't just like ditch our phones.
Right. We live in a digital age. It's part of our lives.
Exactly.
But there are things you can do to just minimize your potential risk.
Okay.
A simple one is using a headset or a speakerphone.
Right.
So you're not holding that phone right up against your head.
Okay, that makes sense.
Even just little things like instead of making a phone call, send a text.
Yeah, right.
Just reduce that amount of exposure.
Okay.
And another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize,
Yep.
certain wireless devices emit EMR even when you're not using them.
Really?
Think about like a cordless phone.
Yeah, okay.
It's constantly communicating with the base station even when it's sitting there on the table.
So are you saying I should get rid of my cordless phone?
Well, it's just something to consider. Maybe a wired landline is a better option if you're concerned about EMR.
Okay.
Or even just thinking about where you keep your phone at night.
Yeah.
Maybe don't have it right next to your head on your bedside table.
So I guess it's more just like being mindful.
Exactly.
Not panicking.
Right.
But just taking like some precautions.
Reasonable precautions.
Yeah.
Based on what we know right now.
Yeah.
But I think the most important takeaway from all of this is that this conversation is far from over.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just beginning. Who knows what new research is going to come out in the next 5, 10, 20 years?
Yeah. What new discoveries are going to be made?
Exactly.
I think it's a question we all need to keep asking.
For sure.
And in the meantime, maybe just be a little more aware of our phone habits.
Yeah.
Take those little steps.
Those little steps.
To stay safe.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See you later. Bye.
Tell AO